Stadium. Temperature 30 degrees, rain and sleet. The field is tricky. The low will go to 20, the high to 35 as the captains meet and the toss of the coin. The Bears have won the toss. They will elect to receive. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Alex Hawkins and Johnny Morris. And first of all, Johnny, everybody knows it's a must-win game for the Bears. We know Walter Payton needs 199 to break O.J.'s record. But what about turnovers? What about Walter Payton holding on to the ball?
Well, he is not considered a fumbler, although during the middle of the season he fumbled in a space of 3 games 5 times. But he didn't fumble before that, has not fumbled since, and he is not considered a fumbler.
What about the Giants under these conditions,
That's
Alex?
no problem with the fumbles, Vin. Only 11 all season. Larry Zonka's carried the ball 111 times with no fumbles.
Well, you're going to have to hold on to the handle today. Those are the conditions. A must-win for the Bears, and our audience has certainly increased today by the size of the Washington Redskins, who are most interested in the outcome today. John, the Bears are wearing what kind of shoes?
Well, most of them have the kind of la-di-das with the small little rubber cleats. They've been trying to decide what kind of a shoe to wear for this kind of a surface. It's icy and there's snow on the field. Obviously, it's going to hamper Walter Payton's running more than it would a Larry Zonka, as we talked about. But the key is Payton. He is back on kickoff returns, as you can see. And last week was his first time back on kickoff returns. He returned 162 yards. This shows you how important this game is to the Chicago Bears. First time in the playoffs if they win since 1963.
Going back there. Going back a while, aren't you, Johnny?
Joe Danilo kicking off for the New York Giants, and he rolls it down the left and slippery ground. Picked up there by Harper, and he is hammered and holding on desperately as he is brought down short of the 40-yard line. Roland Harper, by the way, bothered by the flu, and it was a question as to whether he would start, but you just don't miss this kind of a game if at all possible. Here are the Bears up front: Albrecht and Jackson, Pfeiffer, Sorey, and Lick, the bearded Bears. The boys who'll handle the football: Rather, the tight end Latta, and James Scott. And in the backfield, Bob Avellini with Roland Harper, number 35, Walter Payton, 34, and it'll be 1st and 10 on the Bear 38. Roland Harper goes nowhere. Troy Archer grabbed him coming by. The Giant defense 3rd in the NFC against the rush, and here are the boys who make it happen: Martin, Mendenhall, Archer, and Gregory up front. The linebackers: Van Pelt, Carson, and Kelly. The corners: Bryant and Rhodes. The strong safety: Clyde Powers. The free safety: Jim Stanky. 2nd and 9 from the 39. Joe Pisarcik getting his arm ready on the sidelines for New York. Here goes Walter Payton in his first carry, and he's double-teamed and decked immediately. Martin hit him high, and down at the bottom was Brian Kelly. So Payton, who is trying to catch O.J., it's interesting to remember that O.J. had his big day to go over 2,000 against the New York Jets in the snow in New York. But on grass, Walter has similar conditions on AstroTurf, and a hardy crowd. In fact, most of them look like an ad for cod liver oil.
Yes, you got to love it to come out today.
I should say. 3rd and 8 from the 40-yard line. Walter following 2 blocks, but there are 3 Giants, and out he goes.
You got to give the Giants. You got to give the Giants a lot of credit, particularly their defense. They're 3rd in the National Football Conference in total defense against the rush. They don't give up but about an average of 127 yards per game.
Reeve, Sorey, and Roland Harper had enough to take Van Pelt out, but not enough to handle the other 3 Giants who sealed him off. And so the Giants go back with Hammond along with Stanky to handle the punt by Bob Parsons, who is averaging 40 yards a kick, and he has had 16 inside the 20. It'll be Stanky backtracking to his 12-yard line. Fumble! The ball is still loose, and the Bears seem to think they have recovered, but let's wait for the official.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the Chicago Bears have recovered. Bo Rather, number 80, got the ball as Stanky coughed it up, and the Bears have a chance to score. They're down on the 13-yard line of the New York Giants.
We can take a look at it in slow motion, and we were talking about turnovers, and look at Stanky wobble the ball. Walterscheid missed it. Spivey came up, and Neal, they couldn't get it. Robin Earl went diving with Bo Rather, and it was Rather who came up with it. And the Bears get a tremendous break. And the Giants are right back on the defense. Clyde Powers, the strong safety, shaken up on the play. Meanwhile, Bob Avellini is down on a knee. Expensive play.
This is a big break for the Bears because of the fact that they went through a lot of emotional ups and downs, I would imagine, yesterday watching Washington. They won the game, and then Detroit scored first on Minnesota last night because they could have been in the playoffs before this game began. So now they've got to get themselves up for another emotional effort as Mike Spivey goes off the field. He is one of their reserve defensive backs, but the Bears have the chance now, and it's going to be a tightly fisted game because it's going to be mostly a running affair.
It'll be 1st and 10 for Chicago on the 14-yard line after that fumble by Jim Stanky. The first of perhaps many turnovers under the weather conditions. Will repeat at the start of the game at the Newark Airport, just down the road here in New Jersey. It was 30 degrees. The low is expected to go to 20. The high, it will balloon all the way to 35. So Bob Avellini, who could not go anywhere in the first sequence, remember he started on his own 38 and the drive picked up only 2 yards in 3 tries, now has it 1st and 10 on the Giant 14. Rather is in a slot inside Scott. Ball to Payton, fumbling the pitch out, and down he goes. Larry Mallory up to fall on him. So Payton unable to find the handle. It should also be pointed out they're all wearing gloves, which should make it a little more difficult.
I think so. I never thought that gloves helped anybody on the football field, but we can see the circumstances now. Walter never even got his hand on the ball. The ball hit him and bounced out, and we're going to have a game where there's going to be several turnovers, even though these teams have not been noted for turnovers most of this year.
2nd and 18 from the Giant 22. Roll into Harper. Nailed by Harry Carson as he tried to get inside a block of Noah Jackson.
Harry Carson's coming on. He has been a good performer for the Giants. He lacks experience because he's only been around a couple of years. Out of South Carolina State. He's improving every week. Last week had 2 quarterback sacks and a bevy of solo tackles. He leads the Giant defense in tackles.
By the way, talking about the linebackers of New York, Brad Van Pelt, number 10, has been selected to play in the Pro Bowl.
And deservingly.
3rd and 16. The ball on the 20. Rather is inside Scott, slot right. And there's a flip to Payton as they set up a screen. He fumbles and recovers. He belted and fumbled, and I believe the Bears recovered the ball. They did, but boy, did that pop out of Payton's hand.
There's only one answer to that. There must be snow flying in the air and hail. The ball is just so slippery they can't even hang on to it before they even hit the ground. They're dropping the ball.
I think also, Johnny, you notice here on the play, he's having so much trouble with his footing on the thing that he's taking his attention away from holding on to the football. The footing, I think, is a big problem today, but it's certainly not the temperature. It's fairly pleasant for 30 degrees.
It looked like Ted Albrecht finally fell on the ball to recover it, number 64 for the Bears. So it is 4th and 10 from the 14. And they're going to go for 3. Bob Thomas, who is 12 for 23. However, he is 5 for 7 from the 20 to the 29. And they'll spot the ball on the 22. It's a 32-yard field goal attempt. It is up. It is good, and the Chicago Bears are on the scoreboard, and they lead the New York Giants 3-0 as a direct result of the fumble on the punt by Jim Stanky. There's the scoring drive, 4 plays, 32 yards, the 32-yard field goal for Bob Thomas. The fumble by Jim Stanky, of course, setting it up, and that ball has already been popping loose like wet soap, and we just started. 10:50 to go in the first quarter. So Thomas will tee it up on the 35. The Bears in a must-win situation, and you have Emery Moorhead deep, along with Larry Hammond for New York. Make it Bob Hammond, number 33. So Bob Thomas ready to kick it off. Still not very deep. They can't really get a charge on the ball. Picked up by Willie Spencer, and Spencer gets it out to the 35-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for New York. They have not had an offensive series yet after Stanky dropped the punt. Up front for New York, Gravel Van Horn, Chandler Gibbons, and Mikolajczyk. The wide receivers, Robinson, the tight end is Shirk, and then Moorhead. And in the backfield, Joe Pisarcik with Doug Coder and Larry Zonka. And as Alex Hawkins mentioned, 111 carries, no fumbles for Zonka. He could play an important part in the game. Robinson is wide left. Pisarcik on a fake, going over the middle to the tight end, Gary Shirk, and he dropped it. So Shirk was wide open and couldn't hold it.
Pisarcik.
I don't think he can believe it. Actually, Shirk was so open. If he had caught that ball, they had a 40 or 50-yard play on that one. The Giants come out throwing. They have not been a throwing team for most of this season.
And by the way, Shirk is not wearing gloves. Up front for the Bears, Hartenstein, Osborne, Rydalch, Newsom. With Buffon, Hicks, and Muckenstern. In the linebackers, Ellis, Livers, Fensick, and Plank. 2nd and 10 from the 35. Scott wide right. Instead, it's Coder out across the 40-yard line. Muckenstern on his back, and down below, number 54, and that would be Hicks, Tom Hicks.
Jerry Myers is in at defensive tackle. Jim Osborne has had the flu for the Bears all week, and apparently he has not recovered sufficiently. So number 74, Jerry Myers, has moved in at the defensive tackle spot.
There he is now, number 74, Jerry Myers, 6'4", 245, out of Northern Illinois. So it is 3rd and 4 from the Giant 41. Spencer and Coder in the backfield, and it's Coder straight ahead, and it would appear he has his first down. Flag on the play, so let's double check.
Chicago Bear defensive end, I believe, moving that time. Was that Harkenstein? Or is it
Number
Harkenstein?
73?
Which is it?
There
you go.
Number 73.
Mike Hartenstein, guilty of the infraction. However, was he drawn off or not? Nope. Meanwhile, Cincinnati leading Houston 3-0. A 27-yard field goal by Chris Barr. 10:50 in the first quarter.
Offside. Defense, number 73.
There is Coach John McVay, 46 years old, out of Bel Air, Ohio. We're trying to finish on a winning note.
Played high school ball at Massillon, Ohio. College ball at Miami of Ohio.
1st and 10 from the Giant 46-yard line. It's still Coder and Spencer. Robinson is left and Scott right. Play action fake to Coder, and Pisarcik down the middle. He's got Gary Shirk. Dropped another one.
Same play.
Same exact play, Vin.
Gary Shirk from Moorhead State, and he has dropped 2 in a wide open area.
And Pisarcik does a good job of taking a little something off of it, knowing that they're having trouble catching the ball. He just laid it in there real soft, didn't he, Johnny?
It looked like he tried to turn and run before he had that ball in there, and it was soft. It was right in the stomach. Those are the kinds that you usually don't drop. The receivers will drop the ones that are on the fingertips or on the hands, but when they get the body on it, usually they'll grab it.
There's Jennings, Dave Jennings, loosening up. He'll be asked to punt if they don't get the ball moving. 2nd and 10 from the Giant 46. Play action fake to Coder again. The other side is Emery Moorhead. And it'll be a first down to the Bear 35-yard line.
I think the New York Giants have said this is the last game of the year, and we're going to go all for broke as Pisarcik goes back and hits Moorhead coming across. And I'll tell you, Gary Shirk is open again as the tight end coming across the field. But nice maneuver. Allen Ellis makes the tackle on the play, and you don't beat Allen Ellis too often.
Pisarcik drilled that one. He said his softness, taking something off of it hadn't helped. I'm going to throw it on in there.
The Bears are 13th defending against the pass, so the Giants are trying to exploit that. 1st and 10, they spot the ball on the 36. Another fake to Coder, and another pass to Robinson, and Livers brings him down inside the 25-yard line. That will be another first down.
Little Jimmy Robinson from Georgia Tech was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons. Watch the play action here. Good protection today for Pisarcik so far. Jimmy probably the biggest deep threat that the New York Giants have. He's had 80-yard touchdowns, a couple of them this year. All right, let's look at that left side. Gordon Gravel and Doug Van Horn. Van Horn, one of the better offensive guards in football.
And I'll tell you, Kotar was wide open out of the backfield on that last play.
1st and 10 from the Bear 23-yard line. The Bears leading 3-0. Big Willie Spencer is jammed up as he gets to the 20-yard line. Spencer playing for Zonka right now. We had not heard any reports that Zonka was ailing. But they're using Spencer, a 2-year man at a Massillon High School. No college. Willie did play in the Canadian Football League. So that might give you an idea why he'd be at home in this weather. There aren't too many Giants who are sitting by that heater who feel at home. and that'll give you some idea of the playing condition.
Ain't that pretty?
2nd and 8 from the 21. Another fake to Coder. And the big bomb to Spencer off his hands.
Willie. He played over in Memphis for John McVay for a couple of years. Looked like he had a bright future for him, Ben, but he had a knee injury and he never responded like he was his first year. He was dynamite when he was 19.
Philadelphia, who beat the Giants last week on a sneak by Jaworski in the waning minute, leading the other New York team, the Jets, 7-0 on a 1-yard run by guess who? Ron Jaworski. There are the Giants. They'll have to keep a pad for drops. There have been 3 of them so far, 2 by Shirk and that one that went off the fingertips. So it is 3rd and 8 from the 21. Pisarcik down to Moorhead, and he dropped it. Maybe we better take another look at that. It looked like it hit him right in the belt buckle.
It certainly did. It was right there, right in the old breadbasket, as Pisarcik has got to be getting a little bit frustrated. Good pass blocking by the Giants. The ball, he was down to his knees, and the ball was right in the old tummy, and it goes down, and we're going to have to start keeping statistics. This could be a record if they keep it up like this on drop passes.
Hit him in the tummy, huh?
Joe Dinello is 11 for 19 in field goals. They will spot the ball on the 28, so it's a 38-yard field goal, and in that distance, he's 2 out of 4 this year. Dinello kicks. It is good, and the Giants are on the scoreboard. So the name of the game is football, and that's the name of this one. The Bears 3, and the Giants coming back with 3 to get even with 7.5 left. So the Giants get even on 9 plays, 65 yards, although they must feel somewhat frustrated. There were 4 big drops on Joe Pisarcik passes. They settled for Dinello's field goal to get even. So Dinello is kicking off, and again, it'll be a squirter on the ground. Picked up by Johnny Musso at the 18-yard line, and Musso is out in the open, and Mallory finally throws a block at him and brings him down just as he gets across midfield. Otherwise, Musso was off and running. Take another look at the pride of Alabama.
And they're keeping it on the ground. They do not want to kick to Walter Payton, but they better watch out. The Italian Stallion's got the ball, who has lived in the shadow of Walter Payton since he's been with the Bears, and then he slides another 10 yards, but that doesn't count, does it?
He's not used to that either. He's an LSU boy. He doesn't know what that ice is.
Well, Larry Mallory made that block, a 33-yard return by Musso. Bo Rather wide right, James Scott wide left, and it's Harper and Payton behind Avellini. Harper inside an Albrecht block for maybe a yard, with Walter Payton leading the way. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League and intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Giants and the National Football League is prohibited. Don't forget, CBS Sports Spectacular next Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. World Professional Skateboard Speed Championships, European Figure Skating Championships. All coming up next Saturday, 4:30 Eastern, the CBS Sports Spectacular.
Like both of them.
2nd and 7 from the 46. And Avellini will pass. Finally gets it off and throws it away. It was intended for Steve Rivera, but he had a short hop that icy ball and never had a chance to catch it.
Rivera was a receiver at California when the Falcon quarterback. What's his name?
Hey, look at
Steve
Tampa Bay.
What about that? Tampa Bay on a hot streak, buddy.
Of course, for St. Louis, they lost their hearts to Washington, and Tampa Bay coming off win number 1. They picked it up on a 1-yard run by Lewis Carter.
And the Bears are holding hands in the huddle. They've done that for the past 4 or 5 games. They have won 5 in a row, so I guess it works.
The monsters of the Midway holding hands doesn't seem right.
3rd and 7 from the 46. Avellini down the middle, and he's got Scott, his favorite receiver, and he's knocked down at the 30-yard line. Jim Steinke having to knock Scott down, and Scott having a big year. He's caught 46 passes and 3 touchdowns.
And watch Avellini as he goes back. He stays in the pocket, holds his ground, waits for the receiver to open up, and Scott, who has caught 15 in the past 2 games, caught it in the breadbasket and hung on to the ball because he was really hit.
He's caught, what, 14 passes in the last 2 weeks? That's his 15th. That's right.
That's a 26-yard pass completion for Avellini. 1st and 10 on the Giant 30-yard line. And the backs are split. We'll see if he passed again. It'll be Roland Harper on the carry, and Powers came up to hit him along with Van Pelt. One thing about passing the ball today, and Van Pelt is shaken up, his left hand or arm hurt on that play. The defensive backs are having a tremendous amount of trouble even staying with the receivers. They can't cut with them.
Johnny Mars would probably know more about receiving as well as anybody that works out of a broadcasting booth. The great years he had at Chicago. But I always thought, Johnny, that it favored the receiver, inclement weather conditions and inclement footing. Does it?
Well, that's what everybody says, but being a receiver, I always thought it favored the defensive back.
2nd and 9 from the 29. Avellini, play action fake. And he's got Roland Harper, finally brought down by 3 Giants, with Bryant, Stanky, and Lloyd finally bringing him down good enough for a first down inside the 15-yard line.
And Roland Harper was in the bed with the flu all day yesterday. As he comes out of the backfield off the play action, he's wide open, and finally Dan Lloyd makes the tackle. A host of New York Giants do, but Walter Payton spent all day taking warm milk up and down to Roland Harper. They're roommates, and soup and everything, trying to get Harper well for today's game, and I guess he's well.
And not thinking about the records he could break, huh?
There you see Payton's rushing so far. He's in the red. 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line. Avellini wide to Payton. Makes a good catch. Lloyd pushes him, and then Rhodes knocks him out of bounds.
Walter Payton having 2 touchdown receptions this year, not known as a pass catcher, more of a runner. That's a good adjustment right here. It's a hard ball to catch, looking over that left shoulder and have to come back all the way across. Shows me a little something. Then keeps his balance before he's knocked out of bounds there by Clyde. No, it's not Powers. That's Stanky.
On the sidelines, the other Bears trying to get ready in case they're called. But for the moment, it is 2nd and 6 on the Giant 8-yard line. 4 minutes, 32 seconds left in the first quarter. Philadelphia, meanwhile, leading the Jets 14-0. 2nd and 6 from the 8. Avellini to Payton. Nowhere. And the first man to make contact was Harry Carson, the middle linebacker, and then Brad Van Pelt, number 10. So Payton, who was -4 on 3 carries, can't cut it all on the icy surface on that last play. Let's take a look.
And if we go by statistics, he now has to get over 200 yards to break O.J.'s record. The Giants are just there. There's Carson in on the tackle, and they so far have got the aim in on Walter Payton. The Bears have been moving the ball via the pass, not Walter Payton.
Herb Lusk of the Philadelphia Eagles is the only back to run for over 100 against the Giants this year, and he broke 70 on 1 run. 3rd and 4. Harper. George Martin at the very bottom was able to grab him, and then the rest of the Giants came up.
Giants defense only gives up about 127 yards per game rushing. They're real good at that. They're 3rd in football, as we said.
Bob Thomas is coming in with the field goal team. Thomas, who put them on the board with a field goal a little while ago, and then Danilo came back to tie it up for New York. Thomas's previous field goal, one of 32 yards. The ball will be spotted on the 14, so it's a 24-yard field goal attempt. He's 5 out of 7 from this distance this year. He kicks, and it is no good. So Bob Thomas is denied as it hits the upright and bounces away, and the Bears and Giants are still knotted up 3-3.
Good. Now we can go to bed.
Wait a minute. I want to give you your gift while we're alone. It's something just for you.
A washer and dryer.
Now, come on, will you be serious?
Okay.
All right, close your eyes. Merry Christmas.
Give her a diamond. It's forever.
It's no joke when a meeting runs late and you've got to catch a plane. And if Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car, hadn't invented Express Check-In, you just might be waiting in line at some rent-a-car counter while your plane is taking off. It takes a superstar to come up with time-saving ideas like Express Check-In. Next trip, you might need it too. So rent a Ford or other fine car from Hertz.
The superstar in rent-a-car.
That's right.
It's group encounters of the funniest kind when Siznik attempts to restore harmony to the community center.
This community center is full of crazy people.
Wednesday night, right after Good Times.
A replay of the frustrations of Bob Thomas. And Johnny Morris, he had a frustrating kick earlier this year.
Yes, that was last year against Oakland, 28-27. He hit the goalpost with a couple of seconds to go, so Bob is saying, what do I have to do?
1st and 10 for the Giants on their own 20-yard line. And Zonka is now in there, and he's going to carry. And there's a flag on the play. Larry Zonka's first carry. And seeing Zonka, a man who has been around a while, 9 years, reminds us the Washington Redskins, watching this ball game, their veteran club, sweating every moment of it out. Our congratulations to all the winners, condolences to the losers in the NFL, and a special pat on the back. Good news out of Minnesota. Jim Marshall will wait on this.
Offside. Defense, number 73, first down.
Mike Hartenstein, guilty of the infraction by the Bears. We understand out of Minnesota that Jim Marshall, whom I had read quoted as saying he was going to retire, has decided he's going to play another year.
Oh, not another one.
Yep, he'll be 40 years old and scampering next year, and we're delighted to hear the news. 1st and 5 from the 25-yard line. Zonka stacked up, and at the very bottom is Jerry Myers, number 74 of the Bears.
Do you think that George Allen of the Redskins is on pins and needles now, sitting at home watching this game?
It must be a frustrating day, and we do have to congratulate George Allen and all the members of the Washington Redskins who were written off for dead several weeks ago, and somehow, some way, they are this close.
Well, they call George Allen any number of things, but nobody's ever referred to him as anything but a heck of a coach. What a job he does.
2nd and 3 from the Giant 27-yard line. 2:22 left to go in the first quarter. A 3-3 tie. Hammond is the deep man. As a fake to Hammond, Pisarcik setting up and throwing over the head of Gary Shirk, and that's the first time that Pisarcik has missed a receiver.
Well, that's the same play they've been trying to complete where Shirk dropped the ball. This time the Bears had it covered as number 54, Tom Hicks, dropped back into the zone, and he had Shirk very well covered, so the Bears finally caught up with that play.
Take another look at Hicks. Tom Hicks, the middle linebacker for the Bears, picking up his man Gary Shirk.
And he's done a heck of a job since taking over the middle linebacker spot about 5 games ago. He is out of the University of Illinois.
He's been a difference, hasn't he, that defense?
Yes, Pisarcik, by the way, comes in with a percentage of completion of only 43. Spencer is in the backfield with Zonka, and it is Zonka trying to burrow his way for a first down, and it's very close. Just depends upon where they spot the ball, and from our angle, it would appear as if he's made it.
Yes, he did. He made it by 2 3/4 inches.
There you go.
How important is that offensive line? Well, Larry Zonka in 7 years with the Miami Dolphins averaged 4.6 yards per carry, and up here he's averaging 3.3.
Larry has 1 touchdown rushing this year. In fact, his longest run from scrimmage, 15 yards. But as we mentioned in our opening remark, he could very well be a key to this one. 17-0 Philadelphia. They have ripped it wide open. 1st and 10 from the 30. And Zonka. Rydaltz just missed him at the line of scrimmage, and finally Myers got him, but the miss by Rydaltz gave Zonka a couple of yards. Rydaltz, number 76. The Bears and the Giants all even 3-3. 1 minute and 12 seconds to go in the first quarter, and do or die for the Chicago Bears.
I like those numbers the Bears wear. I like them. A lot of tradition there, brother.
2nd and 7 from the 33. Robinson is wide left. Marshall wide right. Pisarcik looking to the left. He's got Marshall, and he is not able to catch it. For a moment, we thought it was going to be a completion and a fumble, but it was whistled no immediately. So Marshall hit hard just at the moment of reception. He played for McVay at Memphis in the World Football League, 2-year man out of Cameron State.
He was drafted by Cincinnati in the early rounds. Stayed there about a year.
Big boy, 6'5". So it is 3rd and 7 for Joe Pisarcik and the New York Giants.
And the interesting thing is that the Giants ran the play perfectly. The quick post, he was right there. The ball was there right when it was supposed to be. Only the jarring tackle by Ellen Ellis stopped that from being a completion. But the Giants are really throwing well on the Bears.
Pisarcik is 2 for 8, and he could easily be 7 out of 8. Coder is back in there with Hammond. And Cota will carry. Holding on for dear life is Jerry Muckensturm, number 58, to bring him down. Muckensturm just closed his eyes and held him by the ankles and skidded on the turf.
Cota's been in trouble with injury pretty much all year. He's on again, off again. Well, the last 2 years been the same thing for him.
However, the efforts and heroics by Muckensturm just denied the Giants the first down. He missed by about a foot. And so the Giants will have to kick. Going deep, Livers, number 24, up in front. You have Plank to the right and Walter Scheid to the left. Dave Jennings, who has been averaging 40 yards a punt, will kick it from his own 30-yard line. And it's a boomer. Livers has to go back to the 10. And it's all uphill from here. See you later.
Oh. I think the Giants came to play football today.
Yes, sir.
Virgil Livers has had only one fair catch in his young career, but after a play like that, you've got to think about another one.
Raggedy Ann, the storybook friend of generations of children. Now she stars with Raggedy Andy in a delightful new family movie from Bob's Merrill, the publishing people of ITT. ITT's Raggedy Ann and Andy, a storybook brought to life at some very lucky local theater.
Friends with a dolly like you.
He's a cop and she's a girl who's been around. But it looks like someone doesn't want him to make it. The word is out to stop him. The odds are 100 to 1 they won't get through, but there's no way they're going to give up. Clint Eastwood, The Gauntlet, rated R. Opening this week everywhere.
See nothing. We start the second quarter in a 3-3 tie. And the Bears again trying to get the spirit moving after that booming punt. A 51-yard punt, no return by Virgil Livers. And now Bob Avellini has his club 1st and 10 on the Bear 15-yard line. Rather is wide left, Scott right. The running backs are still Roland Harper and the deep man Walter Payton. Here comes little Walter. Boy, he's going to find it awfully tough today. The Giants not only keying on him, it appears as if the elements are also out to stop him.
Under these circumstances, the past couple of weeks, the Bears have started to throw to James Scott, but you can see there are several New York Giants there. Steinke came up on the tackle. Carson was there, and they are wherever Walter Payton is.
Payton got a lot of determination, though, doesn't he? He's looking for a hole anywhere.
He keeps those legs driving at all times and explodes about the time he's being tackled.
He's pitching a shutout so far. 5 rushes for zip. 2nd and 7 from the 18. And Avellini fakes once, fakes again, and Archer, Troy Archer, just eats him up. A 2-year man out of Colorado.
Oh, he's going to be a fine football player. He's young, still improving. Just in his 2nd year. Last year was the #1 draft choice. He's 2nd in sacks on this Giant team with 9.5. Only Mendenhall has more. He has 10.5.
And I think we could probably credit the Giant defensive backfield on that because Avellini had 2 places to go. They were not open, and then Archer put the clamps on him. So good defensive backfield work.
Yeah, he got off 2 pumps. One to the right, then he looked and pumped to the left, and then it was all over. 3rd and 11 from the Bear 14-yard line. Rather is left, Scott right. And the tight end, Latta, is on the left side. And Avellini hangs it up and deep, no good. Intended for Bo Rather. And Rather does not catch too many. Coming into the game, he had only 16 catches, 2 of them for touchdowns. So the Giant defense thoroughly stifling. And look at the crowd, what crowd we do have, and it's a remarkable turnout.
Ben Scully, this is kind of a homecoming for you. You grew up around here, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Not exactly here in Jersey, but spent a good part of my life in New York. Yesterday, a magnificent day, and it turned around to come up like this today.
I do change this time of year.
It's the old story. If you don't like it today, wait a minute. Here's Bob Parsons, who got one booming punt off, and he'll be kicking from his own 5-yard line. Harper back there to block, and he gets it away. It'll be, let's see, Hammond and Robinson, and it's Robinson. And Jimmy Robinson gets across the 40-yard line, does a great job of holding on to the ball, even though he was hit by Campbell, who tried to take the ball away from him. So the Giants will put it in play with 13:35 to go in the second quarter in a 3-3 tie.
All over America, women are turning to men who use Vitalis.
We Easterners don't turn for just anybody.
Heads are turning to Vitalis.
When a Midwestern girl turns, she means it.
Heads are turning.
Down south, a nice girl would never turn.
Women are turning to men with shorter hair. That's why more men are turning to Vitalis for that clean together, younger look.
In California, we just turn.
Heads are turning.
Ford introduces the new Futura. A dramatic combination of styling and technology for 1978 and beyond. Futura. Its striking design is the result of computer modeling and extensive aerodynamic testing. Its excellent fuel economy results in part from the use of high-strength, low-alloy metals in Futura's construction. And Futura's ride is the result of a newly created advanced front suspension system. Futura. In a world where cars are looking more and more alike, it represents a change. A dramatic combination of styling and technology for 1978 and beyond. Realistically priced for today. See your Ford dealer for a personal test drive.
Well, as we look at the crowd, it was a sellout for today's game. The no-shows will be an interesting number, but it is a remarkable, well-equipped crowd that came to see this one.
Who is that masked man?
No masks at all. First and 10 from the Bear 39. Moorhead is right, Robinson left. Zonka and Spencer, the running backs. Larry Zonka running into people shy of the 35-yard line.
The New York Giants have two ways to go at you. They have their bull backfield in now with Zonka and Spencer, and of course they have the combination of Hammond and Kotar, and they intermix them, but now they're going to go for ball control apparently because they got the bull backs in there.
Zonka and Spencer, to define the word bull back, each weighing 235. Marshall is wide right and Robinson left. Here comes Willie Spencer with Zonka putting on a block. Zonka tried to meet Doug Buffone and take him out of the play, but Buffone did a good job of sliding off Zonka's block and stacking up the play.
As he has for the past 11 seasons.
In fact, you can watch Buffone, number 55, and immediately we wonder, where is number 50, Wayman Bryant?
He has two bad shoulders and has been injured. He's been bothered by it all year, and they're just so bad that he just can't play today unless it's an extreme emergency, so Muckenstern got the start.
So it is 3rd and 5 from the 33-yard line. Robinson left and Moorhead wide right. Here comes Spencer. Again, Zonka hits Buffone, but coming up and tripping him is number 45, Gary Fensick. Fensick couldn't quite handle him with his hands, so he used his feet to bring him down.
Leading tackler on the Chicago team this year, having an outstanding season is Gary Fensick.
Who hails from Yale University.
Is he a Yaler?
So that's a big play, and there's a man watching himself on television, watching himself on television, watching himself on television. Ad infinitum. And there is Jack Pardee. Navy watch cap pulled down around his ears. It is 4th down now as we see Tampa Bay holding on to a 7-0 lead over St. Louis. Dave Jennings, who has kicked 16 inside the 20-yard line, and Virgil Livers, the sole safety man for the Bears. And it'll be a timeout Giants as Jennings, after going back in punt formation, suddenly thought better of it and goes to the sideline to talk to John McVay. 11:30 left to go to the half.
From blazing heat to paralyzing cold, season after season, the JCPenney battery has more power to start your car more dependably than any other car battery you can buy. And it never needs water. In fact, it's so dependable, it's warranted for as long as you own your car. If it ever fails to hold a charge, return it. We'll replace it, free. Only at JCPenney Auto Centers or catalog desks. It's the last battery your car will ever need.
Up here, the wind can turn an entire ski slope into one big snowdrift. But you're going to take the mountain away from the storm and give it back to the skiers. Now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. America's quality beer, Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, if you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller beer.
So it is a 4th down and 4 for the Giants. Jennings getting squared away with John McVeigh is back to kick from the Bear 45. Virgil Livers on the Bear 15, and Jennings angling for the corner, but it's going to go into the end zone. So Jennings very disgusted. There's a flag on the field on the far side, however. Jennings trying to coffin corner it.
I figured out what he called timeout. He wanted to know whether he should kick it out on the left side or on the right side. That's the only 2 options he had.
That's about it. And it looks like, to complicate matters, there will be a penalty against the Giants.
Number 70, offense, declined. First down.
A holding penalty against Gary Jeter of the Giants for holding. A reminder, tonight at 10, 9 Central and Mountain, the Carol Burnett Show. Pull up a chair and see one of the loveliest people in the world entertain you.
Bob Avellini said he has only been shaken twice in his life as far as meeting people. He said the 2 people that have just shaken him up completely are Phyllis George, who we met last week, and Joe Namath.
There's a Bob Avellini, and here comes Walter Payton. And he's grabbed by Van Pelt after Gregory missed getting him from behind. And Van Pelt did a good job of stringing the play out, but we also must understand the running surface is such today it's almost impossible to cut.
Well, let's watch old Harry Carson, number 53, in the middle there as he pursues. Gregory stringing it out there along with Van Pelt. They're a good defensive unit. There's no other way of looking at it. They don't give up too awful much.
And you hit it on the head, Alex, stringing him out. See, they're stringing him out, making him head for that sidelines, and because of the fact that the field is so slippery, it's harder for Payton to cut back against the grain.
2nd and 10 from the 20. And the Bears have Rivera wide right. Scott wide left. Avellini faking to Walter Payton. And down the middle, he's got Scott. And Van Pelt then got Scott and brings him down at the 40-yard line. So the Bears strike through the air. And in this cold, rain, and sleety day, it looks like the pass is going to be the big part of the game.
And I don't think Scott went faster than half speed as he came down, felt the zone, just came in across the middle, beat the triangle, and was there for the reception. He had 45 going into today's game. He could win the NFC title if he has a big day.
Yeah, he was 3rd coming into today's. Did you see that little play action hold Harry Carson just enough to keep him out of the pass pattern that time?
Moved it to the 41, 1st and 10. Rather wide left, and Scott goes wide right. Avellini going high and deep down the right side, and it is going to be picked off by the Giants, and it is Jones who picked it off and then went skidding in the wet ground. The pass intended for James Scott. And Bill Bryant making a marvelous attempt, and it's finally caught by Ernie Jones.
Coverage was definitely there. Avellini just tried to get some quick points quick.
Radio Shack has a great space age gift for kids at a down-to-earth price. The original Space Patrol walkie-talkie. Just $14.95 a pair, and they really work. Crystal controlled and battery operated, just like Dad's portable CB. And they're built in Radio Shack's own electronics factory. So this Christmas, thrill your kids with the $14.95 a pair Space Patrol. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
Last hand. 8 hours and 10 minutes. Fantastic.
Finally, we come to the
9 hours and 12 minutes. Amazing.
Vicks Sinex long-acting nasal spray is amazing. It can quickly have you breathing as easily as someone with no congestion problem. And then it decongests up to 10 hours.
10 hours?
Incredible.
The opera?
No, my nasal spray.
Vicks Sinex Long Acting. Incredible.
If you are Emily Hughes, then I'm your daughter.
Damn you for doing this to us.
Arthur Hill and Barbara Barry in Tell Me My Name, Tuesday at 9:30, 8:30 Central and Mountain Time.
The Bears trying to stay warm. You can see a little hail bouncing off their helmets as James Scott puts on the gloves to keep his hands warm. But it's the Giants who have the hot hand now. 1st and 10 from their own 23. Here comes Doug Coder. And there goes Doug Coder for a first down. Moving the ball out across the 35-yard line.
Running off the blocks of Gordon Gravel and Doug Van Horn, and let's watch him. Doug Coder, number 44. It's a good job that time of Doug Van Horn, seeing his man inside. He always does a good job, though. He is one of the premier players for the New York Giants. One of the better offensive linemen in the league, too.
So Jack Pardee watching his Bears try to dig in 3-3 with 9:57 to go. Cincinnati still holding on to the Chris Barr field goal to lead 3-0. Hammond carries the ball out across the 40-yard line. A moment ago we had a picture of Sid Gilman, though it didn't last very long on the screen. Gilman has done a marvelous job with the Bears and their offense.
He's an offensive genius, babe. His track record speaks for itself, what he can do with the team. What are the Bears, number 2 in offense this year?
2 in offense, and ironically, it's been mostly on the ground, and Sid Gilman is a great passing master, so you just never know what's going to happen.
2nd and 6 from the 40-yard line of New York. Moorhead is wide right, Robinson left, Hammond and Coder, the running back. And Pisarcik going down the left side to Robinson. Oh! What a hit by Gary Fensick. Otherwise, he holds on to it, but Fensick knocked him loose from his senses.
You think he didn't?
Woo. Take a look at number 45, 6'1", 192-pound Gary Fensick, and he hit Robinson, who weighs 170, and almost knocked him to Jersey City.
But you see little old Jimmy Robinson, don't you? He's on his feet anyhow.
Watch Fensick lower the boom.
And I didn't know that Yale people could hit like that, but he's been doing it all year. Watch this. Oh, you can't blame him for dropping that one, can you?
That is a headache, isn't it?
That might be the hit of the year as far as games we've seen. It's Excedrin number 124 for Jimmy Robinson. 3rd and 6 from the 40. Shirk, the tight end on the right side. Marshall and Moorhead are in there now. The running backs are Coder and Hammond. Play action fake to Coder. Down the middle and off the hands of Marshall, and he took a lick by Plank. Deg Plank, number 46, laid into Ed Marshall.
Have you noticed that about the good teams this year? All the good teams in football seem to have 2 good safeties that make an awful lot of tackles. And I don't care which division you're looking at either. And the Bears certainly have 2 in Fensick and Plank.
Well, it's just like baseball. They say if you're strong down the middle, if you're strong on defense at that middle linebacker and your 2 inside safeties, you got a good team.
New Orleans, Atlanta scoreless in the 2nd, and now Dave Jennings will be asked to kick from his own 30-yard line. A trio of Bears, Walter Scheid along with Plank and Livers. Big punt. Virgil Livers will take it on his 16-yard line and nowhere to go. Boy, it was standing room only down there by Virgil Livers.
Virgil's not much of a mutter, is he? You know, these slippery fields, some backs just run better than others on it.
And so the Giants and the Bears slugging it out in the sleet and rain in New York. Temperature 30 degrees, and it's a 3-3 tie.
Well, you caught me doing a not-so-great job wrapping a great Christmas gift. A Kodak Tele Instamatic 608 camera. It's almost like giving 2 cameras because it has 2 lenses.
Okay, Star, do your stuff. Look how the telephoto lens can make the best part of your picture bigger. A Kodak Tele 608 camera doesn't cost a great deal of money.
But it gives a great deal of pleasure. And like all Kodak gifts, the Tele 608 camera says, open me first to save Christmas in pictures.
If you owned a Weller soldering gun kit like this, you'd find it easy to do lots of things around the house. Like patch a planter, fix a frame, customize a car, solder a signal, sculpt a statue, touch up a Tiffany, set up a CB. Get yourself a Weller soldering gun kit. See how easy soldering can be. Weller, one of the fine family of tools from Cooper Industries.
So the Bears putting it in play, 1st and 10, Roland Harper carrying it into a gang fight there at the 25-yard line. A 3-3 tie, field goals. There's Steve Rivera getting a message from Sid Gilman. And Bo Rather is there now as each wide receiver comes in to huddle with Gilman.
The Bears send all plays in and do not call that many audibles. They go with what they have called basically because Jack Pardee feels you call it and make it go.
Well, Rivera has brought it in. He's wide right. Cincinnati leading Houston 6-0 in the second. And it's 2nd and 7 from the 25. Roland Harper gets out to the 30-yard line. He's the fellow who was questionable because of the flu.
Now, aren't they going against the grain, Johnny Morris, running to the left as often as they have? Because you told me something really interesting about the Bears prior to the telecast.
That's right. They generally run 2 out of 3 plays to the right because Peyton runs better to his right. But Peyton right now does not have any yards. I think we can say it's a foregone conclusion that Peyton's not going to break the record today. The most important thing to the Bears is win this game.
Absolutely.
3rd down and 3 to go. The ball on the Bear 30-yard line. Rather in a slot right inside Scott, and Avellini under some pressure from Mendenhall. Gets away, fakes once, Gregory misses him, and finally he's grabbed by Martin. So Mendenhall couldn't get him, Gregory couldn't get him, and big George Martin did. A big play. It was 3rd and 3, and he couldn't come up with it.
And good coverage by the Giants downfield, but we'll see Mendenhall, number 64, put the first pressure. Avellini gets away from that. Here comes Gregory, and then you're going to see Martin get him. He gets out of that, but he just ran out of room, and big George puts him down, and the Bears are in trouble. 4th down, will have to punt the ball.
He might have had a desperation pass at the last second to Roland Harper, who was 5 yards in front of him, only Harper slipped and fell down, and that was the end of it. And so now Bob Parsons, averaging 40-yard a kick this year, will be kicking from his 20. High snap, but he got it away. Stanky blocking for Robinson, who calls for the fair catch. So Robinson, who took that ferocious lick by Gary Fensick, is okay and back in there to handle the punt.
That's a tough old Tech boy for you.
Boy, 170 pounds.
He wants to play, though. That guy, I've never seen a guy work any harder.
Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the CBS Sports Spectacular. And what a great show. World Professional Skateboard Speed Championships. The kids will love that. And all the grace and glamour of the European Figure Skating Championships next Saturday at 4:30 on the CBS Sports Spectacular. 1st and 10 on the Giant 28. And here goes Coder. And Coder went nowhere. Jerry Myers in there. And for Jerry Myers, playing in place of Jim Osborne, he did a fine job. Take another play at number 74.
Plays off the block and makes the tackle with some help from Ron Rydalch, who leads the Bears in sacks this year.
So it is 2nd and 8. The ball advanced to the 31, a pickup of 2. Marshall is wide right, Robinson left. The running backs are Coder and Hammond. Pisarcik throwing to his man covered by Ellis, and a great catch by Ed Marshall for a 1st down. Boy, Ellis was all over him.
Got the good, tight coverage. Ellis a good defensive back, though, Johnny. I think you told me coming in he only had 1 touchdown pass thrown over him last year and none this year at all. Pisarcik throwing the ball pretty well.
His numbers would belie the fact, but in watching, he has really thrown only 1 pass that was uncatchable.
Boy, it was a rough go there for Ron Rydalch. Chandler, everybody at Van Horn took care of Rydalch. 2-on-1, you haven't got much chance.
1st and 10 for the Giants on their own 43-yard line. Play action fake to Larry Hammond. And Pisarcik throws to Gary Shirk. No good. Shirk had slipped just as the ball was released. And Gary, who had a couple of drops earlier, was certainly not guilty that time.
No, sir. He's had a rough day so far. And what you've seen all year is just an awful lot of holding around the National Football League. Now, you can't misconstrue that for holding, can you?
Well, they're sure friendly, though, aren't they?
Doug Van Horn. Well, he held so cleverly, though. You know, he got him in tight. When you reach out and get him, it's when they catch you. Everybody
Pisarcik is now 3 for 11 for 43 yards. 2nd and 10 on the 43. Marshall is left, Robinson right. Play action to Hammond, and the pass is picked off by the Bears. Ellis picked it off right on the sidelines at midfield.
It's his 6th interception on the season, too.
And 21 in his career. A big play by Allen Ellis.
And Pisarcik cannot be held to blame on this one. It is deflected there, if you see it. Right side of your picture here. Big hand go up there.
Hartenstein, I guess, got his mitt in the way of the leather.
Good job, Ellis, keeping his feet in bounds, too. Both of them had to be in, and the defensive back doesn't work on that much.
So Allen Ellis, number 48, receiving the congratulations of his teammates. A big play. The Bears take over at midfield, 1st and 10. 4:57 to go to the half. A 3-3 tie, and the ball game a must-win for Chicago. Out to the left side to Scott. They set up a screen. Gregory can't get him from behind, but he's pushed out of bounds by Brian Kelly.
That's a play you saw the Miami Dolphins use so effectively on Saturday. Or was it Sunday? I don't remember. The days run together.
And the Bears have used it quite a bit, too. They just drop the wide receiver off and peel the line out. It's kind of like a wide receiver quick screen. You can see the line filtering out, and he tries to peel in behind him. This time he stayed outside. Got a block from Ted Albrecht up front here, and he's knocked out of bounds.
Can't use that unless you got the great speed.
So he picked up 8 at 2nd and 2 from the 42. Rivera wide right, Scott left, and look out. Ted Albrecht, number 64, made contact, and we'll see now whether he's guilty of the infraction or not.
Albrecht just in his rookie season, and he's having a fine year, too, I understand.
Houston now picking up and taking a lead over Cincinnati, 7-6. A 1-yard run by Ron Coleman did it.
The Oilers are tough down in that Astrodome. When they're at home, beware.
Well, we'll get the call now.
We have a false start, number 64, offense.
So Ted Albrecht, guilty of the infraction. There you see Walter Payton's story. He's carried 6 times for no yards, but at the end of 3 carries, he was -4 yards. It is 2nd and 7 from the 47 of New York. Here comes Walter, and coming up to hit him hard is Rhodes, and a big play by Ray Rhodes, number 22, to bring him down.
Ray Rhodes.
And he saw Walter Payton coming outside, and Rhodes said, I'm getting up there because he's not coming on my side. And he just came in, made a great tackle, stayed with it, and Payton now is minus yards for the afternoon.
I question that call because you're not going to take, you got Jack Gregory, who's been around for about 11 years, and you're not going to fool him at all with that. He read it immediately.
And especially a pitch out like that on a bad surface.
Yep.
3rd and 11 from the Bear 48. Avellini looking right and going right to Rivera, and he's going to be knocked out of bounds immediately at the 45-yard line. They need another 5 or 6 yards for a first down, though they're going to have to give up the ball. So Avellini comes off the field, and his numbers so far have not been impressive. Neither quarterback is blazing hot, although 6 for 10 would give you a good percentage. He's picked up 83 yards. Jimmy Robinson going deep. He also has Hammond and Stanky back there with him. And Bob Parsons in there to kick, and he'll be booting it from the Bear 45-yard line. Back to block for Parsons is Roland Harper. So Parsons gets it deep, and Robinson fair catching the ball, and it will go into the end zone. So they bring it out to the 20-yard line, where the Giants will put it in play, 1st and 10. Yes, you can understand Jimmy Robinson blowing on his hands. It was 30 degrees when the game started, and they said the low today will be 20. So, you know, Henry Winkler meets William Shakespeare later today on CBS. Yep, see the famous Fonz in a different role. Robinson, no good. And did he have company? Virgil Livers and Doug Plank were inside his shirt.
Virgil Lauder's doing an excellent job on the coverage that time. Pisarcik, not known for his touchdown passes, has only thrown 4 all season. That's right. That's 4 touchdown passes all season.
And 3 to Jimmy Robinson.
That's right. The longest being about 80 yards.
One thing he did do, he threw that ball 60 yards in the air. He's got a strong arm.
I didn't take Pisarcik serious until this game. I'd seen him
got
play a
plenty
couple
of time to crank up, too.
Yes, sir.
Boys up front doing a marvelous job. All right, a 2nd and 10 from the Giant 20. Doug Coder. And Coder wide open for the first down. Gary Fensick is going to finally drag him down across midfield to the Bear 49-yard line. 1st and 10. Hello, Santa Claus.
And the Giants having a little bit of success with that left side. Van Horn, 63. You see him folding his man right on in there, kicking Newsome out. Poor tackling right there, but the rest of it, good running.
For Coder, his longest run from scrimmage this year, a 27-yard scamper. And that time, 1st and 10 to the Bear 48.
Carl Chandler making a good block there on number 74. Who dat? Jerry Myers, of course.
And then he runs over Virgil Livers, 24, and tries the straight arm on Fensick, but Fensick hung with it.
1st and 10 on the Bear 48-yard line. Larry Zonka. And there goes Zonka through a hole. And finally brought down by Doug Buffon. So Zonka moves the ball just inside the Bear 40. Remember, the Giants started this drive on their own 20-yard line. Here's another look.
And watch Larry Zonka just wade through there. Nikolajczyk and Gibbons throwing the blocks there. Shirk coming in and sealing, getting in somebody's way. Zonka, how many times have you seen him make runs just like that? 8 and 9 yards at Miami was nothing at all.
Tampa Bay making it a habit now, leading 14-0 in the 2nd quarter, and the Giants have it 2nd and 1 on the Bear 39. Play action fake to Zonka. Pisarcik throwing to Shirk, no good. Gary was just able to get his right hand on the ball and couldn't hold it. Van Horn, along with Gary Gravel. Boy, are they up in the trenches trying to give Pisarcik enough time.
And it seems like it's been such a frustrating time for Shirk here as we see the pass blocking, which held up very well. But Shirk has come so close so many times. He's dropped some. He just almost made a great catch there. And you get the feeling he's going to do something big before the game is over.
Van Horn doing a big job on rideouts. Don't forget halftime, Brent Phillips and Lurk. 3rd and 1 from the 39, and there goes Zonka, and he squirts through. 1st down, and he is across the 30-yard line.
Again, working that left side.
Larry Zonka, big play.
Let's look at it again. Van Horn. Rideout's taking that inside charge again. Missed tackle there.
The Giants are on the move at the 2-minute mark.
Christmas is a time for closeness, and closeness is what Norelco razors are all about. The rotary razors with 36 blades. They come in cord and rechargeable models. They're the razors that cured the gotchas. And the ladybugs, the ladies' razors that really work. And the Ladybug Salon, a ladybug razor plus 11 grooming attachments. Norelco, even our name says Merry Christmas.
Attention shoppers, the new Atari cartridge game is in.
Excuse me.
Uh-oh, George again.
Ooh, Atari's AFC battle.
It comes with 27 games, but that's just for starters. You can get 9 cartridges, 187 games.
Blackjack. Oh!
I'd like an Atari.
Sorry, only our demonstrators left.
Mine!
No, George. Mine.
The new video computer system by Atari. More games, more fun.
Well, we saw some marvelous Giant blocking. Middle linebacker Tom Hicks of the Bears appeared to meet Zonka, but then he slipped off him, and Zonka rumbles for the 1st down to the Bear 29. Meanwhile, Atlanta leading New Orleans 14-0. The latest score, a 2-yard run by Haskell Stanback. So far, the Giants have rushed for 99 yards, and the Bears have rushed for 19.
That stinks.
Don Reeves has come in at middle linebacker for the Bears, replacing Tom Hicks.
All right, 1st and 10 Giants on the Bear 29. Zonka and Spencer are in there now. Pisarcik to Shirk, and the tight end has it. Takes 3 licks, but holds on to it for a first down.
Finally, Jerry Shirk held on to it. They needed that.
Boy, they took some pops at him, too.
They sure did. You see the way he hung on to that ball? He said, I'm not going to drop this one. It was right in there. He was open. He got it with the 2 hands, took his licks, and held on to the ball as Fensick, Ellis, and Doug Buffone all in on the tackle.
So it is 1st and 10 on the Bears' 16-yard line. 1:28 to go to the half. A 3-3 tie. Pisarcik looking right. Pumps once and drops the ball, and the Giants fall on it. Ron Rydaltz, number 76, stirred up all the pudding on that play, and the Giants are fortunate they held on to the ball.
Carl Chandler never found that ball either. Couldn't figure out what the commotion was behind it.
Timeout for the Giants with 1 minute and 5 seconds to go to the half. A 3-3 tie. Field goals by Joe Danello. And then the clutch one by Bob Thomas. Thomas, however, missed one. And so with 3-3, and the Giants are on the move.
Do you realize, thinking of this offensive team of the New York Giants, that not one single player out of the 11 starters was an original draft choice by the Giants?
Did you look that up last night?
I looked it up last night. Yes, sir.
It's that time again. The NBA on CBS. And it'll be Buffalo Braves versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Sunday, Christmas Day, December 25, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope there aren't any married men with children on either team.
Ben, let me ask you something. You're from around East. Exactly where are you? Where did you grow up here in New York?
Well, I was born and raised in the Bronx, and then our family moved over to New Jersey, north of here, and then eventually, and it's hard to realize it, 20 years ago, went to California.
Went showbiz. Went to Hollywood.
No, went to Pacific Palisades. Well, let's see. 2nd down and 14 to go for the New York Giants. 1 minute and 5 seconds to the half and a 3-3 tie. And, of course, for the Bears, Washington Redskins won. Minnesota Vikings won. The Bears must win, or Washington goes to the playoffs. Houston leading Cincinnati 13-6 in the second, and we have 2nd and 14 from the 20. Pisarcik is going to send it up again. Down the middle, Willie Spencer. And Plank, along with 2 more, finally bring him down. The middleman, Don Reeves, along with Plank.
Good job of coverage there by Doug Plank. Good job of holding on to the ball by Willie Spencer. Take a look at it again. Look at it like the middle linebacker does. Gary Shirk coming down and getting jogged there a little bit. Willie Spencer, you see the coverage there. Everybody there where they should be.
So the ball on the 15-yard line, where it is now 3rd and 9, and the backs are split. Spencer and Coder. Pisarcik to Coder. Inside, Gibbons run, but he didn't get enough. They're playing Mike Gibbons, number 79, who was picked up as a free agent. And 79 Gibbons was trying to open up the hole for him. It didn't quite work. 4th and 4.
They're going to let the clock run way down before they call their timeout so that the Bears wouldn't have a chance to do anything after the field goal or after the missed field goal.
Oh, you can see the clock running down, and now timeout is called with 6 seconds left to go in the half. Joe Danello, number 18, who has already kicked 1 field goal. Danello's field goal, 35 yards. And he is now coming in to try to get the Giants out in front.
He's been pretty consistent all year for the Giants, hasn't he, Ben?
Well, Danello's numbers read as follows. 19 out of 20 in point after, 12 out of 20 field goals. But inside the 30-yard line, he is a perfect 6 for 6. All right. Yeah. So the ball is on the 12-yard line. And Joe Danello trying to make Washington a very happy city, at least for halftime.
Joe got a nose on him, doesn't he?
And he's trying to get that all the slush and get a clear spot so they can get the free kick right without any obstruction for his foot.
Larry Mallory will hold. He'll spot the ball just inside the 20-yard line, so it'll be about a 30-yard field goal attempt. It is up. No good. Way off to the right.
And you know what? He slipped just as he started to kick the ball. He slipped and lost his balance and then had to go through, and that's why he missed it.
So it's another factor in this all-important ball game. The ice and sleet on the field. Watch him slip. See that?
Right there. Just momentary.
And the ball sliced off to the right. Never did have enough altitude and was way wide. So the field has hurt the runners. We've had a lot of passes dropped, and even the field goal attempts have been extremely difficult under the conditions. And with 2 seconds to go to the half, we have a 3-3 tie.
The Giants have pretty much had it their way, though, today. They've dominated the play so far in the first half, and they have nothing to gain by it. Their season
reminder,
is over.
too.
Just Christmas to look forward to. It's such a big game for the Chicago Bears.
Scores and highlights from around the league with Brent, Phyllis, and Irv coming up at halftime. And then, of course, we'll get back to the second half, and we'll find out about the picture in the NFC as to who will be the wild card. Will it be Washington or Chicago?
Phyllis didn't call me again this trip, but Herb did.
First and 10 from the Bear 20. Avellini to Roland Harper. Flag on the play, and down he goes. Now it depends. You don't have the half end on an offensive foul. So let's see.
Offensive motion.
So it's against the offense, so the half will end. Had it been against the Giants, why, they would have continued play for one more. So the half is history. It is a 3-3 tie, the Giants and the Chicago Bears. And it means that the Washington Redskins are still very much alive, as are the Bears. Don't forget, Brent, Phyllis, and Irv coming right up, so stay right with us.
Give your watch a new twist.
Twist-A-Flex, make it look more attractive.
Twist-A-Flex,
Put Spidell on your wrist.
Twist-A-Flex, give your watch a bright new look.
Twist-A-Flex, give your watch a new twist. Give your watch a new Twist-A-Flex.
Twist-A-Flex watch bands, only by Spidell. They'll make your old watch look new or your new watch look better.
Yeah, Buck. I just went to another bar and asked for light beer for Miller. Yeah. They said, sorry, Buck, we don't have it.
They didn't have it?
No. I don't want some beer that's going to fill me up.
No.
I want light. Tastes great. Right. Has a third less calories than a regular beer. Yeah. And, man, it's less filling. You think I'm going to the other bar again? No way. From now on, the buck stops here.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Energy for a stronger America.
It starts here on the North Slope, the incredible 800-mile Trans-Alaska Pipeline. Now that it's completed, the oil it carries will reduce the payments America makes for foreign oil by billions of dollars each year. And each tanker of North Slope oil leaving Valdez Harbor carries a vital new source of energy for a strong America.
60 Minutes looks at the growing problem of juvenile offenders. Next, Beverly LaSalle pays a Christmas visit, much to Archie's surprise. And on Alice, it's a joyous Christmas trip until...
We're marooned. Who's going to wake up Mel and tell him? Mel?
60 Minutes, followed by All in the Family and Alice, starting Sunday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time.
CBS Sports presents an exciting Christmas weekend, leading off next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. with the CBS Sports Spectacular, featuring highlights of the World Professional Skateboard Speed Championships and highlights of last year's European Figure Skating Championship. On Christmas Day, we'll feature NBA action, tipping off at 12:30 p.m. with the Buffalo Braves taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Followed by the Fiesta Bowl with the Nittany Lions of Penn State taking on Arizona State. And on Monday, NFC playoff doubleheader action. Be sure and be with us for a Christmas sports weekend.
Vin Scully has said several times, will it be Washington or will it be Chicago? And I would have to believe that probably the most nervous individual watching this game is Redskin coach George Allen. It is probably tougher on George to watch a game that he has absolutely no control over than standing on the sidelines like he did Saturday when, of course, his Redskins defeated the Los Angeles Rams. To give you an idea, again, of what this means, both of the NFC playoff games will be on the Monday after Christmas, a week from tomorrow. That is both NFC playoff games. Now, if the Bears win, they will open up the first game on CBS on Monday in Dallas. The second game will start at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and that will be out in Los Angeles, 3 p.m. West Coast time, and of course the Los Angeles Rams would be hosting the Minnesota Vikings. But it reverses. If the New York Giants win this game against Chicago, then in the first game, Minnesota will be down in Dallas, and Washington will be playing out in Los Angeles in the second game. The AFC will open up next Saturday, and many of you are saying, wait a minute, you used to have an AFC game and an NFC game on one day, then the second day you'd have NFC, AFC. Well, the league reasoned that since we're not playing on Sunday because it's Christmas, they did not want to give one of the teams an advantage of 2 extra days rest. Therefore, the AFC playoff games will be on Saturday, then the day after Christmas will be the 2 NFC games. Let's get you up to date right now on all the scores around the league. The game you're watching, it's really too bad that the weather conditions here in New York today are so miserable, because this should have been a splendid going-away party for Walter Payton, but they'll have to do the best they can. Tied at 3 at the half. Atlanta and New Orleans. Atlanta leading the Saints 14-7, and of course the Saints coming off that horrible loss a week ago to Tampa Bay. What about the Buccaneers? They got something going. St. Louis has been absolutely inept on offense, trail by 7. The New York Jets in Philadelphia, the Eagles have dominated. Micah Myers kicked a couple of field goals. The Eagles had a lot of kicking troubles early this year. Houston and Cincinnati, this game means everything to the Bengals. They must win it, or the Steelers are going to wind up back in the playoffs, and in the second quarter, Houston leads, and they have dominated pretty much. Green Bay ahead of San Francisco right now by a score of 3-0. And you know, at this time, we'd like to introduce the newest member of the CBS Sports Department. She will be joining the CBS Sports Spectacular. She is over with Phyllis George, Christine Kraft. Phyllis?
Well, Christine Kraft is not the daughter of the chairman of the board of that famous boat company. However, she is a new addition, as Brent said, to CBS Sports Spectacular and just CBS Sports in general. And welcome.
Thank you very much, Phyllis.
I'm sure everybody wants to know a little bit about your background and what you're up to here at CBS. So let's start with your background first.
I have been in television broadcasting for 2.5 years, first in Salinas, California, and most recently in San Francisco. I've done weather, news, and sports. And in addition to that, I've also been very active in athletics myself. I've done a lot of surfing in my former days, and now I do racquetball and a little bit of running and some skateboarding.
So you're really an enthusiast.
Yes, I enjoy sports myself.
The women in sports, of course, is going to be a big segment of Sports Spectacular. Your debut is January 7th here on CBS. Now, what is that going to entail?
Well, the entire program on the CBS Sports Spectacular will be a look at women in sports. Today we'll both do sports news and feature pieces on women athletes and competition. And first of all, on January 7th, we're going to take a look at Janet Lynn, who won the bronze medal in the Sapporo Olympics in 1972. She's skating still again. And then our second piece will be a look at women's basketball. Today we'll go to the New Orleans Superdome for that one. And then following that, the third week, we'll take a look at Yvonne Goolagong, who is now married and a mother, but still is a tennis superstar. We've got lots of things we're going to look at, a real treasure trove of women's sports to see.
So it's not really just personality pieces. It's
No.
look at events like women's basketball and tennis and a little bit of everything.
Everything.
Well, I am looking forward to it. I must say, and I think there is a desperate need for this kind of show, and I'm sure you'll agree, Chris.
I do, definitely, Phyllis.
Well, welcome. It's
Thank
great
you.
to have you with us, and happy birthday to you.
Oh, thank
Christine
you.
Kraft. Let's see, January 2nd, Sports
first one.
Spectacular. Right, Britt?
All right, thank you very much, Phyllis, and good luck, Christine. As Phyllis says, there's a lot to cover in women's athletics, and you'll be seeing Christine do that on the CBS Sports Spectacular starting in January. And the NFL Today will continue on CBS in just a moment.
After this word from your local station, will the return of an illegitimate daughter destroy a woman's family? See the drama special, Tell Me My Name, Tuesday on CBS.
I have just been told to tell everyone that the playoff times have not been set for sure, so don't anybody plan on that 6 o'clock Eastern start out of Los Angeles until it's announced. But I think that it will be announced that way. Let's check in on some of the highlights now. The New York Giants and the Chicago Bears, and again, the big story so far there in the first half has been the miserable weather conditions. Here is Parsons hunting for Chicago. Stanky is back to return, and he will not be able to hold on. It just slips away from him. Bo Rather pounced on it. Chicago, though, could not score. They had to settle for a field goal. 3 points instead of 7. And the Giants responded with Dinello's 38-yarder. So Dinello and Thomas are tied at 3. And here's Peyton being dumped by Ray Rhodes. That was late in the second quarter. And, of course, now he will have to have a spectacular second half. So it's just too bad, Irv, because he really doesn't have a chance to even take a shot at O.J. today.
You know, you hate to see great athletes have to work under such terrible conditions because you know that record, even though he said it's not important, was uppermost in his mind. But down in Atlanta, the Falcons lead the New Orleans Saints by a score of 14-7. In second quarter action here, Woody Thompson drives in for the Falcons to take an early 7-0 lead. Bartkowski goes to the air on this particular play, Britt, and hits Farmer right down to the 14-yard line, setting up Haskell Stanback, who does the rest. He goes down to the 1, and from there, Stanback goes in for the touchdown. Atlanta takes a 14-0 lead, and the Saints had to be wondering, uh-oh, don't tell me it's going to be like Tampa Bay last week. But late in the second quarter, Archie Manning comes through as a Henry Childs. They get on the board, and it ends there at halftime. Atlanta 14, New Orleans 7.
Down in Tampa Bay, Irv mentioned the Buccaneers. They are trying this afternoon to win their second straight game against the St. Louis Cardinals, who have to be way down mentally after losing 3 in a row and dropping out of playoff contention when they appeared to have a playoff spot wrapped up. That gave evidence of that. Hart's pass picked off. Here is Huff now directing the Buccaneers, going to Novak on the 20-yard line. And here's a touchdown that makes a little Buccaneer history. The first time they were able to get 6 in the first quarter of any game in their history. Now Huff going long to Morris Owens on the 25. And Morris just runs it in. It was 14-0 before the Cardinals rallied. And it was Hart going to Ike Harris on the 10-yard line. Here's Wayne Morris for the score, 14-7. And we've also got some plays now from Milwaukee, where the Green Bay Packers are playing the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see what the weather is like there in comparison with the game conditions that are besieging the Bears and the Giants this afternoon. We'll see if they have a lot of snow. It doesn't look all that bad, does it? Looks a little bit better there. Here is Plunkett, back to pass, and it is Willie Buchanan picking it off. As a matter of fact, that turf looks excellent in Milwaukee this afternoon. Marco, field goal, 27 yards, and 3-0 is the score of that game. And the NFL Today will continue on CBS in just a moment.
The best-selling American-made small car versus Japan's best-sellers.
Hello, I'm Jackie Stewart at Indianapolis, where the best-selling Japanese cars competed head-to-head against the best-selling small car made in America, Ford Pinto. In 2 driving tests certified by the United States Auto Club, which car performed best? Let's find out. In the truck passing test, a 78 Ford Pinto moved out and passed, quicker than a Datsun B210. Passed quicker than Toyota Corolla. Passed quicker than Honda Civic. In the highway entrance test, which car accelerated to the highway speed first? Pinto. Faster than Datsun. Faster than Toyota. Faster than Honda. And 78 Pintos now have added features and are sticker priced lower than last year. Check out the complete line of Ford Pintos yourself at your local Ford dealers. Another better idea from Ford.
This is my team, the Chicago Bears. Hello, I'm Johnny Musso, and I'd like to show you Chicago. Carl Sandburg, the poet, calls Chicago the city of big shoulders. That's because it carries so much of the trade and commerce of this country. It's where trucks and trains and ships pass through on their way to all of America. It's tall buildings on the lakefront, Old Town, Rush Street, and the Magnificent Mile. And it's people, good-natured, hard-working people, people who work in our United Way, for the boys' clubs, YMCA, Travelers Aid, and many other agencies funded by our United Way. They take pride in the Bears, in our town, in our United Way. You see, Chicago has more than big shoulders. It has a big heart. On behalf of all our volunteers, we'd like to say, thanks to you, it works. For all of us, the United Way.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Why, once again, everybody, I'm Vin Scully, along with Alex Hawkins and Johnny Morris. You can tell who are the two rough and tough former football players and who is the fella from California.
Not the case at all. I can't afford a coat.
I tell you about you guys. I didn't come here to win or lose. I came here to survive. But anyway, the Bears came in here to win, that's for sure. The Giants are doing more than surviving. Johnny is a fellow who has kept close tabs on the Bears. There must be several surprises. One, of course, Walter Payton against the Elements.
That's right. I think the Elements have caused the Bears to change their game plan, don't you? He's only carried 7 times in the first half, and the Bears are really lucky to have a 3-3 tie at this point. The Giants outplayed him, outgained him twice the yardage, 160 to 80 yards. So it's been the Giants so far.
And really a rushing game, and with all the famous backs on the field, such as a Walter Payton and a Larry Zonker, the standout right now in the numbers would be Doug Coter, who has rushed for 62 yards in the first half, averaging 10 a carry.
He's not that bad a back. Last year he rushed for almost 800 yards for the Giants, but he's had a lot of injuries this year. Maybe he's finally getting them healed just for the season to end.
Well, the Giants, I guess you could say, they're trying to turn this place into a Chinese restaurant and have sweet and sour. You got the sweet named Payton, and the Giants are trying to sour the act, and so far they've done a good job. But we'll see now about the adjustments that might have been made. Here are the numbers, and the blinking was enough to make you blink. Rushing yardage for the Giants, 103, and for the Bears, only 12.
And let's see, as far as first downs go, the Giants 9-3. Passing yardage, the Bears have a slight advantage, 72 to 57. Total yards, it's double for the Giants, so it's been all New York so far.
New York also pointed out to us at halftime that its quarterback, Joe Pisarcik, who is not known as a great quarterback, but probably the best day he has ever had as a Giant quarterback, was oddly enough in the snow against Cincinnati. So maybe a couple of years in the Canadian Football League for Pisarcik, this is his kind of element.
Yes, sir.
If it's anybody's element. We'll find out if it's anybody's ball game. A 3-3 tie as we await the start of the second half. For those who were not with us earlier, the weather indeed a factor. It was 30 degrees at game time. We have had rain and sleet. The field is covered with a light covering of snow and ice. And as we see Pisarcik warming up, we can point out that there were 4 vital drops in the first quarter on the Giant drive that led to a field goal and not a touchdown. Then we had Bob Thomas attempted field goal, hit an upright and missed. We saw Joe Danello slip in the ice and miss his field goal, and consequently we're 3-3 as we await the start of the third quarter.
And it shows how deceiving the statistics are. Pisarcik is 5 for 17. If you looked in the paper and saw that, you'd never believe that he could be 10 or 12 for 17.
And then you remember Gary Shirk dropped 2, Moorhead dropped 1, and as you said, well, John, he could be having a big day right now. As it is, he is even. Well, the Giants will receive, so Pisarcik warming up on the sidelines, ready to come back in. Larry Hammond, along with Emery Moorhead, deep. We have not had a deep kick for a lot of reasons. One being that the kickers, whether they are kicking off or trying for a field goal, have to approach the ball very gingerly. And you immediately look to the men up front. You have Spencer, Coter, and they might handle the ball as it falls off the tee.
That's how slippery that field is.
And look at the field as you look down. The only areas that are cleared it off are the yard markers themselves. The rest of it really icy and slippery. It's a very difficult runway for all concerned. But here we go, 3-3 at the start of the third quarter. This one to Coter, to the 35, to the 40, still on his feet and dragged down. And Mel Rogers, number 51, the first man to hit him as he crossed the 40-yard line. So the Giants have excellent field position, and Doug Coter, who rushed for 62 yards in the first half, is averaged 10 yards a carry. He's been very important. 1st and 10 on the 43. Coter and Willie Spencer are the running backs. slot left with Moorhead inside Robinson, and that puts the tight end Gary Shirk on the right side. In motion goes Moorhead. And there goes Coder, trying to go around the Willie Spencer block, and he has his first down. Willie Spencer leading the way for Doug Coder.
Absolutely correct. Willie Spencer doing an excellent job that time. Take a look at number 27 coming out of that Giant backfield. Coder number 44 with the ball. Doug Van Horn getting just enough of it. Spencer staying with his man.
He moved
Jimmy Robinson out there blocking somebody. They've had success through that, running to the left the whole first half. They're going to come back out and do the same thing again.
Willie Spencer able to move Jerry Muckensturm, and that opened the door for Coder. 1st and 10 on the Bear 45. Larry Zonka. Flag on the play.
Sweatbands? Someone better talk to him.
The Bears just bought 35 pair of cleated shoes that arrived just a few minutes ago. Maybe some of them changed at the halftime to change their shoes to get a little better traction.
I could just hear the salesman now. Such a deal.
Let's hear the call now. In motion, and it was Gordon Gravel, number 71, if you were able to lip read that time. James Scott trying to keep those hands warm. He's the one applying sweatbands to keep the shirt sleeves tight to the arm and actually keep body heat in.
There you go.
1st and 15 from midfield. Robinson is left and Moorhead right. Hammond following Zonka's block for a couple of yards. Boy, that's tough going today. By the way, that penalty, a motion penalty against Gordon Gravel, was the first penalty against the Giants today.
The Bears have had a lot of penalties this year, 94. They're second in the NFC in penalties. Guess who's first?
Who'd that be?
The Dallas Cowboys,
Really?
101 penalties.
That's because they got Ralph Nealon.
2nd and 10 on the Bear 45, a 3-3 tie. Start of the third, and San Francisco edging Green Bay in the first quarter, 7-3. Play action fake to Zonka. And Pisarcik is going deep to Robinson.
What a great play there by Livers.
Virgil Livers right there, stride for stride with Jimmy Robinson.
Boy, he is no slouch on his coverage. On a field like that, the offensive man, and I firmly believe, has the edge on a defensive man. He's running backwards and knows where he's going. Look at this, how he puts that right arm in there at just the last second, because if he gets near Jimmy Robinson, he's just apt to catch it. Beautiful job by Livers.
Virgil Livers, one of 10 children. He has 3 brothers and 6 sisters. He is quite a scrambler. They call him Mighty Mouse. And even though he's not very big, 5'8", 178, they tell me Livers can bench press 290 pounds. 3rd and 10 from the 45 of the Bears. Marshall in motion to the right. Doug Coder trying to go outside. And finally grabbed down by Plank and skidding out of bounds inside the 45. So the Giants are unable to move. Dave Jennings and the kicking team will come in. The Bears switching to get their punt receiving unit on the field. Len Walterscheid and Virgil Livers, and also Doug Plank. 3 men going deep. Livers standing on his own 15-yard line, and Dave Jennings, as you see, has kicked very well. He has also kicked 16 out of bounds inside the 20. He'll be kicking from his 45. It's over the head of Plank. Out of bounds on the Chicago Bear 4-yard line. The 17th time this year that Dave Jennings has kicked one inside the 20, and the Bears have a long way to go, all even with the Giants, 3-3.
I've got a nice business, but I'm no whiz at financial planning. Fortunately, my Connecticut General representative is. He sure comes through for me.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
My company needs an insurance representative as professional as our lawyer, tax advisor, and accountant. And Connecticut General always comes through.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
Call us. We'll come through for you, too. A
revolutionary camera idea explodes on the scene. Minolta has taken the best features of 35mm reflex cameras and combined them with the simplicity and lightweight of cartridge cameras. The result? A remarkable camera with built-in zoom and close-up lenses. And through the lens viewing, it sets itself automatically. It's the world's only 110 zoom SLR. And it's dynamite.
The Bears take over 1st and 10. The ball just shy of their own 5-yard line. Harper and Payton, the running backs, and it's Harper, and Mendenhall just swallowed him up. John Mendenhall out of Grambling wrapped those arms around him, and that was the end of Roland Harper.
And you're going to say Mendenhall make a great play. He plays off the block by number 69, Reeve Sori, and makes the tackle. Good play by Mendenhall, one of the better Giant defenders. They have a strong defensive line, good linebackers.
Considering Mendenhall's tackle, Harper did well to get back to the line of scrimmage. So it's 2nd and 10 from the 5. Scott wide left, rather wide right. Roland Harper again. And he moved out about 5 yards, bringing it to the 10-yard line.
See the effort by Walter Payton that time. Everybody knows how well he can run the ball. His figures bear that out, but what a good blocker he is, too, and willing to block, too.
There's Reeve Sori, number 69, blocking Mendenhall again. He gets the standoff that time, but Mendenhall wraps his arms around Harper and makes the tackle.
What's Sori weigh?
Sori weighs about 260. He's from Brooklyn.
Yeah, Mendenhall's given up about 30 pounds to him. Mendenhall's not a big boy at all.
3rd and 5 from the 10-yard line. And Roland Harper dragged down by Stanky, but I believe he has a first down. Let's wait and see. A flag is down. In fact, a couple of them might be face guarding.
Could very well be.
Personal foul. That's what it is. And the Bears have picked up the first down as they move the ball beyond the 15-yard line. And the Bears, remember, started on the 5, and with the penalty, they move it out to the 21-yard line.
I never have understood whether you call that a break or not. It will go down, I guess, as a good break for the Bears. That penalty giving them some field position, but is that a break or not?
Well, I would say that it's a break. However, I think he made the first down even despite the face holding. But it was an important play because the Bears would have had to punt, and the Giants would have had great field position after the punt.
We can take one more look. That's Jim Stanky reaching and grabbing Harper's face mask. Now live, it is Walter Payton outside the 25-yard line as he goes out of bounds. So Walter Payton, who started the second half a -5 yards in rushing. A combination of a very staunch Giant defense and a terrible weather day for football here in New York or New Jersey.
Well, there's any time he could break. He has great acceleration. When they hit him, he goes into an explosion kind of and bounces off of tackles. And this offensive line of the Bears just loves Walter Payton. You know, you can have respect for a running back, but you can also, I mean, they respect him as a player and as a person.
Rivera in a slot left inside Scott. 2nd and 6 from the 25. Draw to Walter Payton. No draw. It's a win by Van Pelt and Carson, among others. They read the draw perfectly.
Carson is going to key on him a good deal. Walter Payton, he was going to be keying on him just about all day long. Let's watch him now.
By the way,
53.
They say Payton is little in the sense of smaller in comparison to some of those big linemen, but others say he's like a fullback from the waist up.
He runs big.
5'10", 210 pounds, and not an ounce of fat. And who can say that? Not many guys.
And the Giants still have him in the red, -1 yard so far today. 3rd and 5 from the 26. Avellini looking at Harper, and now decides to run with it, dragged down by Martin. And he is dragged down shy of the 30. He had to get to the 31 for a first down, and so the Bears will have to give up the ball.
Bob Avellini, absolutely nobody open on the thing. Little play action he's used a good deal all day today to hold those linebackers. Just does not put it up. Had an open man in the corner of the picture, but Avellini was looking to his left before he's brought down there by George Martin.
Actually, it looked like Avellini looked at Roland Harper, who was wide open. Harper moved to the middle, and then Avellini took his eye off him, and down he went. 4th and 2, so Parsons will have to kick from his 20. A fair catch by Hammond, and it's a good thing because Bo Rather would have knocked him out of state.
The Bears cover on punts well.
Number 80, Bo Rather, was right there waiting, but Hammond said no thanks. So we've got 10 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter. The Bears 3, the Giants 3. We got a dance.
Radio Shack has a great space age gift for kids at a down-to-earth price. The original Space Patrol walkie-talkie. Just $14.95 a pair, and they really work. Crystal controlled and battery operated, just like Dad's portable CB. And they're built in Radio Shack's own electronics factory. So this Christmas, thrill your kids with the $14.95 a pair Space Patrol. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
These are tough Ford trucks, champs in pickup gas mileage again this year. Ford pickups are the V8 gas engine mileage champs and the 6-cylinder mileage champs. Ford has better EPA ratings than all these other conventional full-size pickups. And Courier has the best compact mileage rating of the 4 top-selling compact pickups. Tough Ford pickups, the gas mileage champs, again this year.
The Bible, the most enduring story ever told. A special holiday presentation on the CBS Friday Night Movies at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time.
The Chicago Bears and the Giants are equally cold, but all the pressure on the Bears as the Giants have it 1st and 10 on their own 34. There goes Hammond, and Plank able to bring him down with a little assistance from the right side by Rychek. The ball just shy of the 40-yard line. Bob Hammond from Morgan State, 2-year man. The Bears had to stand on the sideline and watch Minnesota win last night and Washington win yesterday. Minnesota, the division winner. But it is Washington now on the sidelines watching the Bears. If the Bears win, they're in the playoffs. If the Bears lose, Washington is in the playoffs. Minnesota already in. 2nd and 5 from the 39 with Moorhead in motion. Coder trying to go outside Spencer, and Plank is able to drag him down. Willie Spencer trying to open up that left side. Coder unable to cut. You try to stay off the ice, and you stand on a yard marker. You'll stand on anything to keep warm down there.
Plus, you can see they do have the cleated shoes. Some of the Bears have changed their shoes with those 35 new pair that they got at halftime, so they can hopefully get a little bit better traction.
3rd down and 4 to go for the Giants. On the Giant 40-yard line, Marshall in a slot left inside Robinson. That puts Shirt, the tight end, on the right side. Marshall in motion. Sarchik is going to dump it off to Coder, and he can't hold it. And Fensick just comes up and buries him anyway.
If you're moving, Fensick's going to hit you, whether you get the ball or not.
Gary Fensick, who had the hit of the day against Jimmy Robinson earlier, also let Coder know that if you're coming out my way for a pass, I'm going to sting you again.
And he's another Bear that had a touch of the flu yesterday. There's been a lot of players on both teams that have had the flu, but I guess when things are important, you weather the storm.
Well, they're not taking care of themselves out in that weather today.
Dave Jennings, who kicked one out to the Bear 5-yard line, will be kicking from his 30. Livers, Walterscheid, and Plank are deep, and Virgil Livers is standing on his 15. And it's a muff, loose ball, picked up by Livers, and down he goes. He was never in possession when he muffed it, so that ball was loose. But then Virgil able to pick it up again.
And number 31, Ernie Jones, had a chance to recover that, but he was so intent on the tackle that he didn't know the ball was loose until it was too late and he had passed the ball.
Ten years ago, no one knew me. I was part of the famous no-name defense. Then we built our reputation by being fast. Now, I don't want to lose that. I drink light beer from Miller because it doesn't fill me up, has a third less calories than a regular beer, and it tastes great. Now everyone knows me.
Hey, I know you. You're
Nick Bonacani.
Nope, that's not it.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
We put a little blue jean in everything we make.
First 100 years, all we grew here was Levi's blue jeans. Helped the West grow strong. But now we've added a whole new crop. New fabrics, new colors, new styles. Of course, the roots still go right down to these blue jeans. So folks know they're getting Levi's quality. Because here at Levi's, we put a little blue jean in everything we make.
First and 10 Bears on their own 13. Walter Payton. So Payton gets a couple. Been a long day for Walter. John Mendenhall among many Blues knocking him down.
Somehow you just get the feeling that Chicago offensive line, as good as they are, and as good as they've played all year, are going to burst open in just a little bit.
Play me the music from the Ballet for Cold Feet. Oh, that's a story here to New York. 2nd and 6 from the 17 for the Bears. Scott wide left, Rivera wide right. Avellini handing off to Roland Harper. And Harper has to fight to get to the 20-yard line.
They may hold Walter Payton down today, but they can't hold both Paytons down. Did you see what Eddie Payton did yesterday for Detroit?
Some of the Giants sitting on specially constructed benches, as are the Bears. The heating unit is behind the bench, and it feeds heat underneath the bench.
Bud Grant must be going crazy looking at those benches.
He's turned the set off. 3rd and 2 from the 20. Rather in a slot left inside Scott. And the backs are split, so Avellini is going to give to Payton. And he bursts through.
Whoa, did he?
And Payton gets himself a first down.
Boy, his legs are alive, aren't they? The determination, you can just see it in this man. Give me any kind of hole and I'm going to break it. And you see the good blocking up front there. And look how oh, yeah, look at it. Still running. The legs are alive.
Clyde Powers went over his back. Stanky finally brought him down. 1st and 10 as Payton moved the ball out to the 28, and Payton is in the black now. 11 carries, 11 yards. He had been minus most of the first half. So Walter will try it again. Reeve Sorry blocking for him, but coming up to handle him, number 21, Bill Bryant, and knock him out of bounds.
And the whole key has been for the Giants to string him out. You see 69, Reeve Sorry, the pulling guard. Good block by Dennis Lick down the line, but there's just too many Giants as they string it out, and they know that Walter can't cut back against the grain because he can't get his footing. So it's pretty good strategy, and he's burned a lot of people cutting back against the grain. Walter is now 12 carries for 12 yards, and I must say the New York Giants so far have taken care of Walter Payton.
Sorry did a good job of taking Brian Kelly out on a block as Kelly came back along the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 8 from the 30. Avellini flipping to Payton. Oh, they make a sandwich out of him. Ray Rhodes really hit him. Troy Archer slowed him up, and one of the officials went flat on his back, much to his embarrassment.
Ray Rhodes used to be a wide receiver when he came here with the Giants. He didn't look like a passive wide receiver that time, did he? They moved him over in the secondary, and he's done a fine job for the Giants. A little play action fake there. Avellini has got Scott open, but he doesn't see him. He goes to his outlet man, Walter Payton, and by that time the Giants figured it out too.
There's James Scott being open, Hawk.
He was trying to cut back to the outside. He couldn't really make a very sharp cut, and I'm not so sure if by the time the pass got there, that Stanky might have been there.
Thank you, Sandy Grossman.
Play took a long time to develop for James Scott. 3rd and 11. Avellini throws a dead bird down the middle. One of the reasons he was throwing with Mendenhall hanging onto his leg. And so the Bears will have to give it up. And once again, an ovation for the Giant defensive squad. And Mendenhall and Jack Gregory, Troy Archer, George Martin, the front four, doing a fine job.
Are you sure the Giants can't get in the playoffs?
You know, that's right. They are playing like a ball club that's very much alive.
They've been doing it defensively all year. Only one team, the Dallas Cowboys, gained about 184 yards against them. The second time they played with Tony Dorsett, they only gained 80 rushing against them.
Parsons will have to kick from his 15. 3 Giants back, Stanky, Robinson, and Hammond. And the punt will go, fair catch by Robinson, and he bumps into Hammond, and watching both of them is Bo Rather. Every time you look down a punt, there is Rather, number 80.
Well, if there is a weakness, the Giants are not stopping those outside men coming down on punt coverage. They've got to stop them, but the game remains a 3-3 tie.
America, you've been changing.
Coming, going, changing, growing, the things that make up life.
Why is Bank AmeriCard becoming Visa? To keep up with you.
You're traveling, you're moving, you're taking more from life.
Today you need money that's good around the corner, all across America, and in 117 countries around the world. That's why Bank AmeriCard is becoming Visa, the most widely recognized card in the world. Visa, we're keeping up with you.
Introducing the new Remington XLR, the electric shaver that shaved as close as a blade. And to prove it, we're doing something spectacular. We're giving away a blade to compare it with. We guarantee the Remington XLR will shave you as close as a blade or your money back. Now that's really spectacular. The Remington XLR shaves as close as a blade or your money back.
1st and 10, Giants on their own 33. Moorhead in a slot inside Robinson. And in motion goes Willie Spencer. So Zonka, the lone back, burrows up the middle.
John McVay getting kind of conservative, I guess you'd say. He's doing what they do best, straight ahead blocking, throwing to, hand the ball off to the big backs, getting what he can.
Prior to that play, the Giants had rushed for 129 yards, and the Bears for a total of only 43 yards. So the Giants have really been able to attack on the ground, although they're even 3-3. 5:34 to go in the 3rd quarter as McVay and the Giants look on. 2nd and 7 from the 36. Second man, Willie Spencer. And Spencer did a great job to burrow that far, and he might have picked up the 1st down. It just depends on where they spot the ball.
Returning to the basics of life. Straight at him.
Spencer, who did not go to college, played in Massillon High School.
Watch that offensive line. Mikolajczyk, Gibbons up front.
And Zonka blocking for him.
That's right. Who was that came in there with the Bears? Blank? He's nuts.
Doug Blank. So it is 3rd and about a foot on the 43. Zonka and Spencer. Zonka. And Larry Zonka barreling for what appeared to be the 1st down, and he got it. Doug Buffon, the linebacker on the left side for the Bears, number 55, was hollering to move up to his secondary because he just knew that Zonka, prior to the call, looked like a nervous horse. He was pawing at the ground to clear off the ice and get some traction, and it told everybody in the ballpark he was going to carry.
And Doug Buffon is great at looking at how the backs line up. If their weight is forward, whether they're going to go forward or to the side, and that's one of Buffon's strengths.
But they still picked up the 1st down. 1st and 10 on the Giant 44. Zonka again. And he's taking people with him. And he is right on line with the 1st down chain. Let's see if he got it. Larry Zonka running out of memory.
Good blocks there by Carl Chandler and Doug Van Horn. There's a little fold block there, you see. Mike Gibbons with a good block, too, but most of it Larry Zonka.
He ran over Doug Plank, among others, after Jerry Myers had a shot at him just about on the line of scrimmage. He just kept on moving. 2nd down and inches for a 1st down on the Bear 46-yard line. Zonka. And Zonka picked up the 1st down as he got to the Bear 45. And a little pushing and shoving down on the field now. Some of the tempers getting hot, which is the only thing hot here in the ballpark. Emery Moorhead, number 80 of the Giants, and a well bundled up and well slickered crowd. It's still sleeting here. And as we said, at game time it was 30. They said the low would be 20, the high of 35.
An interesting case, too, how in this kind of a field, Larry Zonka has become more valuable than a Walter Payton.
A good point. A good point, Johnny Morris.
Just like a Doug Coder. 1st and 10 from the Bear 45. Zonka bouncing off people. He ran into Mikolajczyk, who was trying to open up a block. He bounced off Mikolajczyk and just kept on going.
You almost never, as we pointed out, you almost never see Larry Csonka fumble, both at Miami and here. One Super Bowl, he made one fumble well pronounced. Let me see, who's that?
That is Mr. Campbell, Gary Campbell of Chicago. Playing in place of the injured Wayman Bryant, but right now on the sideline sweating it out. 2nd and 4 for the Giants on the Bear 39. 2 minutes and 3 seconds left in the third quarter of a 3-3 tie. Csonka bounced off a crowd. Now he has an opening, and Fensick finally brought him down. Gary Fensick hit him from the side and really tripped him up. And Csonka for another first down to the 30. And you'll spot number 45 finally trip him up.
There goes the Zonk right into the jam up, keeps the legs going, dips to the outside, and gets the valuable yardage as Gary Fensick, 45, throws his body in front and finally brings the Zonk down.
And Csonka has now put on that long-sleeved undershirt, so at least he has bowed a little bit to the elements. He is carrying for over 5 yards a carry now. 1st and 10 from the Bear 30-yard line. Willie Spencer follows Csonka. Boy, Csonka either carrying or opening up the door.
Wilson, the Chicago Bears are ranked 12th in defense in the NFC. They give up over 300 yards per game, so it's really not much of a surprise. They've had some injuries back there as well.
The only thing to that would be that the Bears have only given up 2 touchdowns in the past 4 games. The defense has come on and done much better the past few games, but the Giants are running through them like water right now as you look at Tom Hicks.
Oh, it is 2nd and 5 from the Bear 25-yard line. Larry Csonka. And again picking up yardage because of his tremendous leg power. Meanwhile, Atlanta leading New Orleans 21-7. Most recently, his 2nd touchdown of the game, a 7-yard scamper by Haskell Stanbag.
Now you get a shot of the entire Giant line and the running backs just pushing the Bears back, just out muscling them. Nothing fancy, just pure muscle.
Clock running down on the 3rd quarter in the sleet and cold in New York. And that's the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. The Giants 3, the Bears 3. We now pause for a word from your local station.
The bunkers are all shook up when Mike and a female impersonator are attacked by a street gang on All in the Family tonight on CBS.